Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast.
Hey folks, welcome back to the ODDCAST podcast, where we talk to people who are turning their passion into profession and subsequently their passion into paychecks. We have our first repeat guest on the show today. We got Patrick Hamilton Hutton in the building again. He's fresh off a very successful 2019 Boston Marathon campaign. He's back in San Diego now. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
How are you doing? And how are the legs?
Oh, okay. So in terms of how I'm doing, I'm stoked to be back cooking tons of food, eating a lot of food, because before I was just so marathon tapered up, not eating a lot. I'm eating a lot. I'm chilling out. I'm not running a whole lot. So I feel great just to start with.
Yeah, but then how are the legs?
But the legs right now, well, they're ready. They're kind of starting to come back to life, honestly, but they feel like they were hit by a Mack truck like the first week. The first week after Boston was like, ugh.
Gutted.
Like, so gut. Like, I couldn't even get up off the couch. Like, some days were literally a couch. You're on that couch, and you're like, all right, well, I need to go watch Netflix. Like nah, I can't, what do I do? You're just bored.
Yeah.
So now I'm happy that the legs are coming back to life because I love to run.
Yeah. And new coach.
Yeah. I'm freaking, or whatever. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I got a new coach. His name is Scott. Just basically hired him as of last night. Has the right tools for me to take the next step with my running. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. So, I mean, I guess the first inherent thing that I would ask based on the coaching is, does that come into more of your running game plan, or is that more of your workout pre-marathon, or where does that come? Where's the coaching, or is it different for every runner?
So I've been running. It's different for every runner because you can start off running and I just want to wing it and just do it for health. But, I mean, that to a certain degree, you can get, okay, I'm getting better and better at this, and it's natural that I'm good at it, and I'm attracted to what I'm good at. So I'm landing solid times. It's really unconstructed, though. Like,
interesting. So
without a coach, a lot of the work you're doing, if you are putting in work, it's hours and hours of work, and no one's giving you any feedback on it of maybe, you need to make some gains right now, or you need to take some rest right now. Like, no one's really giving you any feedback when you're doing the work alone. And so, like, I do love my training partners, I do love that, but having somebody actually look at my training peak cycle, like, go online with me and say, hey, this is what you need to do each week, or kind of giving me a week-to-week, hey, this is the set of runs you should be doing. It's like a pattern, and I'm happy that I have someone giving me feedback and kind of watching over me.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it sounds like it's physical and mental. Mental in that it's going to inherently help you out knowing that you have a professional backing you who's, like you said, kind of an OG who's kind of gone through the process before, guiding you through what I'm sure he did right and what he did wrong. But it's also the physical of, today you're going to do this and this is what you need to do, but you have that set plan rather than you kind of setting the plan yourself. Yeah,
it's exactly. So it's having a plan with somebody, and I love how we dug right into the coaching.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where we're starting this podcast, or this whatever we're doing here.
I felt that was important.
It was just the coaching. Like, are you being coached now? Because, like, that is a big change in my running. Like, if you're going to sit there and say, hey, look, I'm running really good times, like, and I do it all alone, and, like, this doesn't sound right. Like, it sounds like you don't have a team, or you're just doing it all. It's possible. Like, it's definitely possible to go out there and train and run, like, a decent marathon time.
Yeah.
But to have a team, or to have people to do it with, or training partners doing it with, there has to be a foundation. That's my theory behind it, and I think that's where I'm diving into in 2019, is get a coach, start a foundation, get yourself some guidance, and have fun still with it. You know, don't lose that passion that you have, but make sure somebody's looking over your workouts. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing where it's like, I would say, this is a thing where we can talk about kind of what we're both doing. Passion projects, regardless of what they are, if you're trying to make your passion into profession, which I think everyone's goal is in the end of the day in life.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have
but
to
you
worry.
have to invest.
You have to invest. Yeah, if your passion's fun, like running or doing a podcast or doing something in the world, like giving back in some way, you find that entertaining or fun, then it's not really work. It's like, hey, check this out. I'm gonna go do this, and gonna go spend my time. Whoa, I just cashed in. I'm making money. Like, you don't really care too much about the money. You're doing something you would rather do anyway. Like teachers that have, you know, paychecks, they teach kids to mold young minds. You hear that theory, or not the theory, but the story of the teacher gives the paycheck back because he just loves to be here. Like,
Yep.
Like, that is kind of what's going on sometimes, like, with my life, and I feel with other people that are actually passionate, so it works.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison, I feel like, to draw, because, you know, regardless of what we're doing, you know, a passion can be any way, shape, or form. Maybe someone's passion is just to acquire a paycheck, so they get the highest paying job they can possibly attain. And if that's what their happiness is, then so be it. But, you know, I think it's more power to you that you've now invested in more into your passion by getting a coach who not only is good, but you feel fits you personally.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's at the end of the day, it's not about how much you're paying that guy. Like, for instance, if you don't see the results, you may be a little upset, but it's not about, like, you thinking, oh, I'm giving $100 to this guy, like, he's gonna, you know, she's not working, and it's not, the results aren't there. It's like, it's you trusting the process, like, it's you actually trusting the process, you know, and you really buying into the whole, like, this is a big deal, like, this is something that I want, and it'll come with more, like, the want to be successful kind of mentality, as opposed to, you know, I didn't PR this race, I'm really upset about it, now what, like, like, just go.
And what's PR for people out there who are listening who aren't runners necessarily?
Personal best or personal record on your race.
Yeah.
Go take the positives away from the race, even though you didn't do your best. You had a good drive or a good swing with it, and don't be so hard on yourself. Like, coming off of a good race just recently, and we can switch topics whenever, but Boston, it's like
I'd love to.
You get highs and lows.
So take us through Boston in a nutshell. What I would love for you to do is, can you summarize your, is it 26.4 miles?
Yeah, it was 26.4. It wasn't 26.2.
Okay, 20. Oh,
because it was covered. It's good you said that too, because every marathon you run has like 0.2 and like a little bit longer on your Garmin or something, and it's like, what? The course was 26.2.
We do our research here on the ODDCAST.
The ODDCAST podcast. I love it.
So I guess the thing I would want to ask you now is, could you kind of take us through that 26.4 in a summary? I don't want to give you a limit on time, but can you do it kind of break it down rather quicker than it actually was?
I was hoping at some point today, not mile by mile, but like we would talk about what actually I did on the course and how it went, because that's kind of fun, I feel like, and people can kind of get an inside view, right?
I think we'll do. How about this? I have a great idea. Let's do the 20,000 foot, like the high level of it now, and then we can break down some specific miles a little later that you want to get into. I don't know. We'll let it flow.
Well, let me just kind of talk about how grateful I am just to have the opportunity to run Boston in general and be able to go back there.
Beautiful.
And start with that first mile. That's the first mile. It's just getting to Hopkinton.
What's that? Where's that?
Hopkinton's the start line in Boston.
Okay. How you must have to regulate your adrenaline at that point so much.
Oh, when you're in Hopkinton, like the tents, people are in tents, people are staring at each other, they're all runners. It's like one of the scariest things ever. Not at first, it was last year it was scary, but this year it was a little bit more at ease. But just so many people, it kind of freaks me out. I'm not a claustrophobic person, but it freaks me out seeing that many people around you.
Yeah.
It's like, you're doing the same thing I am. I hope I'm better than you. And everyone's thinking, like, I hope I'm better than you too.
Precisely.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I know I'm me, and you know you're you.
Yep.
And we're going to do the best that we can. And I think people that have that mentality, this doesn't really matter. Like, I stopped caring about in the actual race how many people passed me or I passed. I had this mentality of, like, run your best, do your best here. I think it really paid off, I could give you every split of the race and tell you how it went, but I think this is the best way to summarize it is I went out there the night before saying just do your best, don't worry so much about it, because last year obviously things didn't pan out and I wound up in the hospital, and I went out there and ran very conservatively in the first 10K of the race and just said maybe I won't run my goal time today, but that doesn't really matter. I think what matters the most is that I have the energy to get over these hills. I learn about Boston and, just have this energy to finish this race and do it right. And maybe I did go a little conservative and I ran 640 to 620 pace, but I sure as heck negative split it around negative 13, or not negative 13.
When you say negative split, sorry, what does that mean?
That means
that your split got better over the course of the run?
Yeah, so over the course of the run. So you run 13.1 miles, and you'll run another 13.1 miles, and then you can negative split that by going
faster in the second
half. And so obviously I had a lot of energy still wound up after Wellesley College, where I kissed a beautiful girl, and that'll jack you up, you know what I mean? and as much as
in the middle of the race?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
As much as last year, like, this is kind of where Boston got fun for me. I think the first miles was so nervous and just like, I'm back here. I'm back in like I don't know what to think. Like, this is like me flirting with like death again. Like, like this is just like giddy and nutty.
Man.
And then when I kissed her at mile 13, this is kind of where things kind of got interesting. I just got excited and I felt good. And I just turned that mile, and turned around and said to one, I was running with Wayne Parfit, another, shout out to Wayne,
Yep.
another Boston buddy from the training group, and he was like, he's 54, this guy's older, he's really fast. I mean, Wayne is freaking fast. And he is running ahead of me a little bit, and I catch up to him, and I kissed that girl at Wellesley, and Wayne's like, yeah, dude. And I'm like, heck yeah, bro. So I gave him the nugs, and that was fun. Wayne was laughing, and then I got moving. After that, I negative split the course. I started running 6:15 to 6:25, pretty crafty.
Wow.
Staying consistent. I think I hit like a 6:15 right after that, and then kept it like 6:17. Feeling so good.
Feeling good. Well, I mean, so how much of that, too, for you was, like, when you first were, like, there and just kind of, like, being, like, now you can kind of take that success in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
You can catalog that. Now you kind of really do know the ups and downs of Boston.
And that's something, like, I do want to touch on when you say the ups and downs, and make sure I don't forget the ups and the downs.
But you can catalog that success away for, like, even though you were conservative, now I can attack it here. Oh, maybe I can do this. Or,
I've had two weird races in Boston. So I ran 2:38 pace for 18 miles there, and clearly after running 2:49 and finishing there, I was not going to finish in 2 hours and 38 minutes after running the 18. The hills will get you. Boston is not a joke for people that want to run Boston, aspire to run Boston. You have to train to get there in the first place. You have to qualify, and those hills are brutal. You just can't shortcut it. You have to train.
Yeah, people really don't understand. And you know what actually was funny is our first podcast isn't on iTunes because we weren't certified on iTunes yet. So people actually who listen to it don't know about the people who listen only on iTunes don't know about the qualification that you have to qualify for Boston. Do you want to just briefly tell people what they have to do in order to qualify?
You got to plant the seed first off and start running.
More so than anything.
Yeah, that's just when people talk about and think about running. It's like there's nothing to it. There's just you got to go outside and you got to go run, and that's the gosh dang truth. But when you qualify for Boston, it's more than a run. Running is running, and running a marathon is running a marathon. They're two different things. Clearly, I mean, they're the same. You could say, oh, you're still running a marathon, same thing, running. But when you're running 26.2 miles, there's a lot of strategy to it, and a lot of people just don't have it straight up. Just don't have it to finish a race, and the legs can't keep moving after 20 miles or whatever, and they break down. And sometimes even for the best people that run, they still fail. And so finishing a marathon is special. It's super special. And qualifying for Boston, to answer your question there, it's like, it's people's like dream. Like, they really want this.
Yeah.
They think about it almost. I mean, when I was wanting just in 2016, when I said I want a marathon, I was already like, my half was already like 117. So I was like, I'm sure if I bust away at it, like, I'll get into Boston, you know? Like, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty fast. It wasn't that easy. I think I ran the first marathon. I thought I would run sub 3. I ran 3:30 on a training run, and the reason I ran in a training run because I was nervous to go into a race and not qualify. So the best thing I did for myself when I started running marathons was go run one. Yeah, go ease into it. Go run one. See what it's all about. You know, just like anyone in training. And certainly it was harder than I ever imagined. I remember the last 4 miles feeling like my legs were just cut off. And I finished. 26.2 miles later, I finished. I felt like I had iliotibial band syndrome in all of my knees. Everything was cashed. But I walked home, told my 45-year-old roommate, yo, I just finished a marathon, dude. They couldn't talk any shit.
Oh my gosh.
So
I mean, that's pretty crazy too. I mean, for someone who, if I run, you know, I'll get in a good, like, if I get in like a good 6 or 7 miles, I'm very highly impressed with myself.
yeah, I mean, I think on the first podcast we touched a little bit on you and this running couple miles, but we're at a point with running where you could turn the corner with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
We're at a point where I think we've talked enough about it, and not just talking about it, but like, you ran 3-4 mile runs, you're starting to get that endorphin release. And this goes for anybody that just wants to start, because this is all things running. That's the podcast here is all things running, and my boy Mikey Ravens over here, the podcast master, is getting himself into it. And I think a lot of people that when they first get into it, they see like a 5K or a race and they're very intimidated, but it's really not as hard as you think. It's really just getting outside more and being inspired by seeing other people do it. That helps. But getting outside and really just going for a run a few times a week.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I totally know what you mean. And that, I mean, I think that's a really interesting one that we can touch on too, is, you know, where like golf and like baseball, running has been a sport where they've encountered kind of participation, viewership problems, and they've been kind of trying to engage on how to get the youth involved.
I think we were going to touch on that. Yeah, something so important to talk about too is why are the youth so upset about running, and why they view it as punishment. It's like when I was a kid, I used to hate running around, and this is just true. I mean, I just hate running.
Well, if you're on a basketball team, baseball team,
it's way more fun.
Team, but sports team, I'm telling you, you used to get laps if you screwed up. Or like if you messed around in practice, like that was your punishment. Like you said,
like go run.
Yeah. So if you were on like an organized sports team, the pure act of running was punishment.
Yeah,
so
and now I'm sitting here with a medal, like, check this out, I just ran. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as a kid, like,
so how do we flip that for kids?
As a kid, you wouldn't be excited about that, and so at least not in 2019. I think the way to flip it though, is not only getting kids involved in clubs that do it already, but getting track started at a younger age. Getting, like, I know they have, you know, the junior worlds and all that stuff for like 7-8-year-olds that run, you know, 800s and mile records and all that. But it's like, when can we get these kids in public schools to have a program that's PE oriented, that has you running, and there's rewards. Like, if I were a school teacher or a PE coach, shout out to Coach D back in the day, Don Rodriguez, hope you see this, like, he had it fun set up. It was fun. You get Cougar cards and you would get Snickers bars and Butterfinger bars for running doing things. And that maybe was incentive, but you would look forward to that, you know?
Yeah, no,
then
dude, they're kids. You have to have incentive.
It's incentive, and we're going to get Butterfinger. It sounds like you won't get it. You won't, but Butterfingers going running and adding something to it. The point I made is adding something to the running.
Yeah.
And it sucks because running alone, they should just want to do that. But if you add something to the running, like, they're going to be more, like, even the gels, if you give a kid a chocolate goo, they're going to be like, yeah, like, this thing tastes like candy. Let's go run.
Yep.
Did I get one more of those if I get finished? Like, and if you add little things to that and then they kind of pick up running with it, that's golden.
Yeah, I think
that's how I think it's going to work. I mean, and a lot of people are like, kids, they view it as punishment. Maybe they still do, and they won't run after they get the Butterfinger bar. But it's more likely to get them outside to try it at least.
Yeah, and I think inherently what we all should also have to look at behind that is, what's the investment behind getting a kid to run, other than the chocolate bar, frankly?
Yeah.
Seriously, like,
no.
you need decent shoes that'll hold up your...
The investment and then the outcome.
But, like, there's no other sport where you need less to participate in.
No, you can literally just go run around and not have to buy anything to go do your sport. But look at, like, kids and they think, there has to be a ball, or there has to be a
I need the latest KDs or LeBrons.
Yeah, like, just there has to be money involved in my sport. Like, I think the best sports in the world are like, you can go swim. You don't need anything to go swim.
Well, that's why soccer is worldwide popular, because all you need is even a crappy ball to do the trick.
Yeah, you can make something up. Yeah.
You really don't need anything.
I think the sports that just like you can just go freehand it.
Swimming, all you need is a body of water.
All you need is a body of water, and all you need is your body.
Yep.
So, that's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
People running is beautiful. Because it's so free, it's so freehand. So I think kids should see that. They should see it like that. They should see this is freedom, but they don't, and they see it as painful, and they see it as something. And I did say that candy metaphor, and it's great. It is what might help, because they'll be doing the act of running. It's just the investment in a kid running. I think at the end of the day, it's just so hard to actually manifest. Like, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
They're just not. And I think the last thing I'll say about it is keep giving them Butterfinger bars, because that's the only way. Give me some, baby. Woo! Butterfinger, cheer me up. Butterfinger Johnny. Butterfinger Johnny.
I'm telling you, man. So
bummed about our Lakers on our first podcast. They didn't make the freaking playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
That was kind of. I mean, we were wishful thinking big time. We were wishful thinking big time.
We were wishful on JaVale, folks.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is
JaVale and LeBron.
The one thing I'll say is I didn't watch too much NBA this year, so I don't feel like I participated. So they didn't get the luck of Mike following me. So it's all good.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Mike.
Yeah. But the next one I want to talk about is we've heard about the money team. We've heard about the money team is TMT. I want to talk about MJM.
Oh, my squad.
The MJM.
I got Jacob on the team. I met him out in Boston.
Yep.
We got Mac on the squad, run 50Ks.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it this summer. Proud of him. And then Mark, of course, crushing it. Basically a pro athlete. So the team's strong as heck, man. And we all showed up pretty big in Boston. And I'm proud of everybody. And, to close out on how my race went, I ran it through. I thought about the last 4 or 5 miles. I'm like, just do it for your bros. Kill this thing. Like, crush it. And I think I negative split the last 10K. And it was like 6:12 pace. But that's how, just kind of, we didn't say it all in one, but that's kind of how it went. I started slow, got energy at 13, and then negative split it late. And I did run a negative split in the last half of the marathon.
Can I have something very specific behind that?
Definitely.
So when you said you got energy at the 13,
yeah,
how hard is that within the race
to
not overrun at that point? Because I feel like for me, just running like casually.
Yeah.
When I get a second wind, I start running like a buffoon. I start like, powering.
Yeah.
And like I could see, even if you're trying to negative split, like you say like is a good look. How hard is that to?
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
That's where the race strategy comes in.
Yeah, that's exactly what the race. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You better have stuck to your strategy in the beginning of the race. Doesn't matter what you're doing out there. Like if you're running with it. It does matter what you're doing out there, and it does matter that you should have stuck to your strategy at the beginning of the race. That stuff is crucial.
Okay.
Because by mile 22, if you're cashed and you don't have the legs to really muster it up, and you pulled like an exposure of yourself at mile 15 of running, for me, I wouldn't want to run 5:50 pace yet at mile 15 in Boston. I'm just not there yet. I'm still working there. I would have exposed myself, and then mile 22 running 5:50, feeling a lot better. That about where my finish line's at and my body in the last 10K. And not exposing myself and keeping it conservative early, and then mile 22 pouring it on.
Attacking.
It's attacking. It's a strategy. Conservative, and then pouring it on.
Yeah.
And then still having the legs because you've been running a ton of weeks. But then you have to worry so much about, did I play it too conservative, and did I not?
Yeah, exactly. Did I cover enough grounds?
Which I think in Boston, being with the workouts, dictating before the marathon, hey, you were conservative, you ran 2:49, your body probably pointed towards 2:46 or 2:44.
Really?
Or 2:45. If I really didn't, I went with my strategy, and my strategy was like 6:40 to 6:24.
And you got that medal.
Got the medal, and the strategy. More importantly, I got this medal, and I didn't have it last year, and I freaking got back on the plane with it, so I was pumped, dude.
Stained glass, baby.
Boom.
I love that. That's a beautiful
glass.
one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one. You want to check it out real quick?
Yeah, I need to. So that being said, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, this is beautiful. It's got some weight to it. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. April 15th, that's my birthday.
Is it?
Yeah. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy recent birthday. I don't think we have caught up about that, so.
That's cool. So you can get it. You get the engravement right there.
Yeah, the time and then the name.
That's pretty awesome. The
time.
So, well, I mean, that's huge. That's something that is about as big as your last name in regards to the fact that, someone could even take that medal away, but they can never take away the fact that you finished that.
No, it's mine.
You see what I'm saying?
This is mine. Yeah, exactly.
But someone could break in and take the medal, whatever. But they could never take away the fact that you finished that at that time.
This is my medal. Obviously, I finished with it. But yeah, your point's made. Like, anyone came into my house, doesn't matter, steal the medal. I know in my heart what happened.
And hold on,
I got
perfect
the picture,
time.
I got the pictures right here to prove it. I'll always have that. Because last year, guys, it was obviously very painful for me not.
Oh yeah,
being
we
able to
talked
finish.
about it on the last.
I got the pictures of me crossing the line this time. Right here, getting the finish line photo.
That's the killer shot
Hands
though,
up,
on the left.
Hands up. Yeah.
That's the just attack shot.
And then we have right here, we have me turning on Hereford and then going under Boylston. So making the right on Hereford, turning left on Boylston. I still had the leg sniping off a guy in Corral 1, Wave 1. So it was a day of picking people off late. I kind of wish that I started off doing a little bit faster around mile 11 or 12, not around mile 20 or 21, because I feel like, maybe I could have got up those hills. I could have done it, but I played it conservative, and I did get a top 1,000 at times, top 1,000 times still, and I'm not upset one bit. So
top 1,000, and it's kind of really cool that you finished straight on 249.
On the how weird.
That's weird. That's kind of neat.
249.01, not 248.
I dig that.
So,
hey now.
the picture was so.
Just flip the mic back around, see if it's anchored in.
Yep.
We're all good.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations once again. I know that's a big thing, and I feel like, it's the same course again next year, and now you kind of know, like, how you need to train to attack it a little differently. Maybe run some hills or something, whether it be that specifically or not. I mean, Boston is big time. Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
I feel like the gauge now is set. Like, I didn't realize first of all that when I looked it up, I was like 26.4. That sounds wrong. I didn't realize that. First of all, it could be
the
different.
Distance,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I didn't also realize that Boston was difficult specifically because of the hills. And
Boston is one of the hardest marathons in the world.
isn't it kind of the premier? I mean, isn't it kind of number one?
It's people's Granddaddy Marathon. It's the only one that they think about all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, they think there's other majors, but this is Boston. This is a big deal. And
Yeah.
when you finish it, today I walked into the YMCA, prime example of this isn't bragging, but this is somebody hey, what happened in Boston? They just want to know what happened because you've been so worked up or training for something. People care. This is something that they care about. It's not just me training for it. It's the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
They care about that. Our country was bombed by those two freaking terrorists. I mean,
yeah, that the Boston Strong movement was big.
it's big, dude.
Yeah.
So anybody from their city that went out there and exposed themselves to that kind of aroma, it's just a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I definitely kind of forgot, obviously, when I was running it about the terrorist attack. And
You kind of have to.
yeah, you don't want to think about that. But certainly on Boylston Street, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
The last part of the race.
Yeah. That must be obviously in the back of everyone's minds, but at the same time, they have to keep it out of their minds. So it's like,
I don't think anyone during a marathon is actually thinking about it. That's a possibility though, because they're so worried about just their legs and their body.
yeah.
So they're in crisis mode anyway.
Really?
Yeah. So it's even by the end of it, you're managing in crisis mode. And your legs are shot, and you're still running forward, and it's just how am I moving? Is it ever gonna end? I just want to walk.
Yeah.
All these emotions, and the one thing you have to tell yourself is, not today. Just not today.
Yep.
And keep putting one foot forward. And going back to it, just everyone's so tired and shot, and it's just not today, legs, just one more mile after. Focus on the mile you're in.
Yeah.
On the mile you're in, so.
Yeah. That's interesting. So that being said, one of the things I definitely wanted to come back to was, are you still considering going and doing the 30-mile stuff and then kind of getting into the 50-mile stuff?
The ultra stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody on our team's kind of covering that right now. That ground.
You were saying, yeah, you're.
So I mean, I do want to.
Mac, right? Or
Mac's diving into it.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. I do want to get into it. I really do. I also have my heart in the marathon.
Yeah.
It's so locked in the marathon that I haven't ran the time. I don't feel like I've had my debut day. I feel like Boston was a good time. I feel like I should have ran. I should have ran sub 240 now 3 times, and it just hasn't worked out. And I've still, even this last marathon, just played it conservative, made sure that I finished, maybe break 245, but I didn't. It's when can I have it all there? And this new coach I hired, I think we're just gonna not play it safe anymore, and just start shooting things down.
Yeah.
And I admit to playing marathon safe, and I don't run enough half marathons or shorter stuff to even have the sprint at least recently have the sprint mentality. I've ran a 10K, that was it, and I felt like that was crisis mode the whole way.
So does that help in marathons?
Yeah, running shorter stuff's definitely going to get you more race oriented, more race ready. And I ran one 10K before Boston. I won the 10K.
Yeah, you were saying, yeah, I remember this.
I did win. It was 34 minutes and about 40 seconds. I finished in about 5:35 a mile. This is the first race back from about a hamstring injury. So I was
you were probably adrenaline just running.
Well, before that I was running 8 miles and 5 miles and 5 miles in 25 minutes. I landed that twice. I was starting to run actually elite marathon or half marathon maybe times. 5 miles. If I can hold that for 13, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And one of the runs I did feel really good. I could keep going, 5:05 pace now. For
Jeez.
I think last time we talked, there was 5:20 was the fastest I was running, and now I'm able on a good day to pop 5 miles in 25 minutes and 12 seconds.
So what you're saying
or
is
25 minutes and 30 seconds.
So being able to do those shorter sprints allows you to bring that out in spurts on a marathon easier?
Doing the 5K, 10K workouts, so good for you.
Really?
I mean, last time we talked, like we said, we were doing a lot of long runs for marathons, running 5-6 miles a week, or 5 miles in the morning, 5 miles home from lunch. But you do still want to do like threshold workouts that require you to have a good pull.
Threshold means like maxing out.
Like maxing out all the way. Like before Boston, I ran 3 miles in 5:08 pace one day, and that was like maxing out for me, and it felt really, really hard.
Yeah, but that's just, I never thought of it.
Because you want to have
the sprint
some.
in you.
You want to have some, yeah.
I never thought about that, though, relating to a specific instance of utilizing that pace within a race.
Yeah, I think it does help to go do that kind of stuff and get your confidence up. That's kind of where it comes from. Is why do you do that stuff? Well, to get my confidence up, to feel like I feel confident to go. I know I landed that. And runners, I think a lot of runners, at least I know a lot of guys I train around and I'm talking to, they build off confidence. It's like, I ran a good workout, a 10K workout. That probably relates good to the half too, right? So if I ran a 34:40, which is 5:35, I'm gonna run a 1:13 half marathon if I hold that pace 6 or 7 more miles. And to me, that would be a minute PR, like in the half. So I would be pretty stoked to say, hey, look, I ran a good 10K today, and if I could run that for 6 more miles. But coming off, like, back to the actual 10K race in itself, like, it was a win, but it was in crisis mode. I'm not racing enough short stuff right now, and that's why I'm getting a coach.
And you're going to ramp it up.
Start actually racing shorter races. You'll see that during the summer months with Pat, with me. Scott's probably going to get me on shorter races, like, hey, 5K, 10K, let's roll.
And just sprint it out. Not sprint it out, but
yeah, I train for it. Maybe get to altitude and go to Holcomb Valley, like up in Big Bear, and put my body on display, or like start training hard. Yeah. Like, so Holcomb Valley is an area I want to get exposed to more. It's like 8,000 feet altitude, and it's good. I mean, it's ripping, dude. It's just freaking ripping up there. It's hot, number one. Heat is like poor man's altitude. You want to go during summer months. It's a Big Bear. Yeah. And then you go rip up some dirt roads for like a half marathon's worth of miles, like maybe 15 miles, a little bit more. And you get to all that 8,000, and then you go do it the next day too. And you really recover that night. Like, not the same workout, but another workout up there.
How do you recover that night? Ice?
Yeah, up there you want to make as most out of the trip as possible because you're only there for a few days in Big Bear. So if I'm up there in a cabin, which I rent, and I'll stay there for 3 nights, and I'll always order pizza, always, because I don't want to cook up there. It's like, always just get a big pie for like, and then put a salad in the freezer, and just like I eat kind of just like by feel out there because I'm running so much, and I don't want to cook, and I just want to go to bed, wake up, and run, and then repeat, maybe have a beer and repeat it again. But the way I recover up there is I take like a really, really warm jacuzzi or a bath in the cabin that I stay at.
Yeah.
And I just sit in there and molt for like an hour or two. And just chill. And just sit in there and chill. And then I don't do 2 workouts in a row ever out there. Like, I don't want to stress my body out too much. So if I went, and you're still getting benefits from the altitude. So if I went out there and I trained one day and did a workout, the next day I would do maybe a slower run. But now that I'm getting coached, I don't know if any of this is going to work anymore. Like, Scott's going to be running everything I do. And if I go to altitude, I'm certainly listening to him. And, like, I don't run on Mondays. He's going to be like, run on Monday, and then I'll be running on Monday.
Yeah. Well, your nose is going to be to the grindstone that much more because it's not
to
you.
To a T, yeah. It's not necessarily me writing out what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Which, am I excited about? No. Am I kind of excited about it on the other end of things? Yes.
Well, I feel like it's, and this is the thing where we tie it into passion to paychecks, passion to profession. It's, the work is going to be tough, but it's not like you're working for anyone but yourself and your goal.
So exactly.
Right? So that's the beauty of it.
If I'm tired and I don't want to work out that day, I'm sure Scott's going to be like, hey, like, you should probably still go run your workout.
This affects nobody but you
This
and your
affects no one
time.
but me. So it's up to me if I want to be great, and if I actually am following it to a T, then I should be making the gains. But if I kind of just like lack on the actual plan, then I don't have any excuses for why I'm not PRing or why I'm not. So that is kind of my own accountability.
Yeah.
And so there's no excuses. Like his program, I know it works. I've heard from other people it works, and if it starts panning out for me and I start doing it to a T and it starts working, why would I change it up?
Yeah, I agree. So transitioning off that, we talked a bit about the team and how you guys all have different roles. But let me ask you something beyond just kind of being a part of a team, you know, the corny stuff that we hear. Oh, I love the camaraderie. How important is it?
I'd say, like, when you say roles, I think it's like people naturally get into their own role. Like, Mark's way faster than everybody. He just finished 40th at Boston. It's not necessarily his role, it's just what he does.
Well, he fits in. I mean, you get in where you fit in.
Man. You get in where you fit in. He's definitely at that pro level. And then Mac, it's like he's getting in where he fits in for sure. I think the 50K and the 100K and stuff like that, I think he's doing a little bit more than 50K.
So he's going to be dangerous at that.
He's good at running in general, and so he's getting a bunch of vert right now, and it's like that is not really a role.
Can you move it a little closer? Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. It's not like a role for.
It's not.
It's like something he wants to do, you know. And so, like, I think with Mark wants to be that fast. He's gonna be that fast. Whatever you want to do, you can be it if you put the work in.
Yeah.
So I think this training cycle panned out really nice for Jacob and I. To touch up on we wanted to run like maybe sub 245 at Boston, but maybe we didn't. We ran sub 250. But we took the takeaways. We both ran under the top 1,000, like that, with 30,000 person race, and with that.
Well, and the hardest marathon, basically. I mean,
and so we took taking the positives away and not necessarily dictating that you have a role. You know, it's like, hey, I know that I'm doing this the right way. I know that my role is to do my best, and doing my best is working for me. And it's working for him because they like what they do and their best is working. Stick to that.
Yeah.
Don't try to go overboard with it. Stick to what you like the most.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And if it's panning out, then keep letting it pan out.
Yeah.
Don't try to.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, that being said, I would say that to anyone. I mean, you know, when you follow something that you're passionate about and you surround yourself with a good team, whether it's running, podcasting, sports, music, art. I mean, the same recipe for success, usually you can kind of apply it to most things across the board, even in a corporate setting. Maybe not so much in a corporate setting, but I think that if you're willing to put in those 16, 20-hour days, like, I mean, maybe for you it's not necessarily like, but it's a 16-hour, 20-hour day on those days where you're not only training, but this is a perfect segue into our next thing, where you're running a boatload, you're working at Roadrunner.
Yeah, still working there.
Big shout out to Roadrunner.
And we've gotten even more busy. Since the last podcast, folks, we are busy. Come see me still. I love you. I want to see you.
Yep. Get that custom fit.
All day.
But that being said, working at Roadrunner, running a boatload, and kind of just also being focused on it, and then also having to relax, then also having to take care of your diet, which is the perfect segue into the diet stuff. I mean, this is a pursuit that is a full-time thing. It's no joke.
Now it is full-time.
Yeah.
Like, we're not making money off of this, and nobody's, like, sponsoring me to go run. But I'm training full-time. So is my main training partner, Jacob. So is Mark. So pretty much, I mean, Max got his thing going on where it's, I think with 50Ks, like, I want to do that, but it's just so much mileage, and so, like, Max just getting the vert he can in and getting used to that. But everyone does what they like, you know, and
yeah,
and I think that's passion, like, just people doing what they like stick to that.
I totally agree. So that being said, the segue, how important is the diet?
Okay, yes.
And I want to talk about specific. Let's not just go like, off on diet, but like let's talk about diet. Like, I want to ask some specific ones. Like, does diet change based on whether you're running a half versus a full? And then that being said, how does it change? Because I'm sure there's a bit of difference, and also how does diet change like throughout the training for a marathon? Like, when do you have to ramp it up? When do you have to ramp it down? When is the carbo load? When's the protein load?
I hate overeating.
Really?
Yeah, I hate overeating. I hate feeling like my stomach's bloated. So, like, right now, I am not running a whole lot. I'll eat, like, one ham sandwich, and like a hamburger sandwich and some, like, chips for dinner. Like, I just don't want a whole lot on my stomach. I've never been, like, big eater. But before marathon, it pretty much looks like, it's consistent. I eat the same thing almost every night. And it's before a race, and it's pretty much like a piece of bread and some clam chowder. I like clam chowder this cycle a lot. Or if I'm eating clam chowder and bread, it feels really good at night, and like a coconut yogurt, and it feels really good because I'm not overeating. And when you wake up the next day, you're not running, so you're like, what do I do? I'm going to go hit the sauna. I'm not running. And all you want to do all day is go hit, a 5 mile or a 10 mile run, and you're not running. You're just tapered. So you're weighting your body off. And I think I've been caught being a little too aggressive tapering recently, where I should be running 3 or 4 miles. And so before Boston, this time I was running a little bit during the taper, still working some workouts in there. Like, I think I was pretty aggressive for the last week even, where I had one workout like 6 days before the race. People will be like, that's risky, like, don't risk it, don't injure yourself. But you want to keep them fresh, you want to keep them moving, and I feel like, I still gave myself enough rest, 4 or 5 days, and that was a good window still.
And the diet plays into that too?
So the diet's just, I'd make a huge thing of clam chowder during the cycle, and I'd buy like some white bread, and at the end, it like garlic bread at the end, and I would just dip it into the clam chowder. And that was it was a carb, and I liked it. It tasted good.
And you were saying cravings too, kind of.
Yeah, it's like not like a pregnant lady. It's like you have these cravings, man, for like coconut yogurt was like a freaking huge I don't have it anymore.
Really?
After you finish a race, it's like I go back to what I want to eat.
Is that like a known thing?
It's like
that people will have like cravings during like marathon buildup?
I would presume, because I'm thinking people would go through what I would go through sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
that would be hilarious.
I want to eat.
Did you ever have a craving previous to coconut?
Bagels and cream cheese were good in there too.
Really?
Oh, everything bagel with cream cheese. It's like that, the feeling of good carb sustain. And that's what changed too, I think. Getting up the hills, I felt like I was just carved up. Like, I ate pasta. I ate pasta the 2 nights before the race with my buddy Chris.
That's what I wanted. So where did you go in Boston to eat pasta, and what kind of pasta
got a free
did you get?
Boston cafe at Cafe Capital One, the bank.
Awesome.
Yeah, which they have a cafe there. This guy made pasta for everybody at the cafe. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Went to the Boston Buddy, like the thing, and we all got there, had a free pasta party, and we talked about our race plans and what we were gonna do, and it was good because everybody's seen each other, like, nationwide, like running races, and everyone wanted to connect face to face.
Yeah.
Talk about their plans, and then we all went and walked over to the finish line and took a picture together. All of us that were in that group. But pasta, bread, and then I went back to my hotel room the night that night had clam chowder again.
Before the race?
That same night. I was eating like clam chowder like a monkey, dude. Just I think the night before was like a bowl and a half of it. And then like I was off social media, but I was on my clam chowder.
Do you have that's amazing. Wow. Honest clam chowder game. That might be the title of the episode. Clam chowder. Clam chowder and running.
Good stuff, man. Especially in Boston, they make the best clam chowder. So.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Oh well, I've been, so I definitely can attest to that.
Creamy.
Do you have any, besides eating clam chowder, like a fiend? Do you have any pre-race rituals, superstitions?
Yeah.
Do all runners have this? And if so, also, would you mind sharing?
Oh. Of course, I will share this. I had arm sleeves.
Really?
Yeah, so those worked. I had gloves too.
Any reason behind that?
Yeah, the gloves, I thought it would be cold, but when you have that gear on, it's just like you feel
Locks
like,
you in.
yeah, I kind of feel boxed in and just kind of locked in, and that's kind of where I feel locked in with the gear on. I feel like, okay, it's time to go. Like, it's not time to like sit on the couch. Like, you've got all this gear on. Obviously, you're not chilling right now.
There's a reason you got the gear
Yeah,
on.
there's a reason for the gear, and it kind of puts you in the mindset that you're doing an activity too.
Yep.
But also the arm sleeves. The arm sleeves, I did race with them for the first time. Super comfortable during a race, and they keep you warm, and they're just lightweight. And people say, "Oh, you like? Why would you wear that? It's for fashion." It's like, at the end of the day, you never know the weather. Number one, you never know, like if it's gonna start raining everywhere, and you just those arm sleeves are just gonna become like freaking your savior.
Or you never know if it's just something that, hey, I like how it feels on my arm, or maybe maybe it could stretch as wild as someone got a goofy tattoo that they don't want someone seeing during the Boston Marathon. I'm just saying the reasons could be wide in between.
I think runners wear the arm sleeves. This is kind of a funny topic that gets brought up, is because they don't know the weather. That's at least why I wear them. I don't know the weather. I don't know exactly if it's. I'll never wear it during a complete sunny race in San Diego. Like, maybe I do, and it's a cloudy day, but that's only because it's cloudy and it may potentially rain. Like a sunny race, you're never gonna wear arm sleeves if you don't need to. If you feel like you don't need to. But also it's cold. If it's cold, why not wear them? They're kind of for weather.
Yeah.
You know? The gloves, I did think it might be cold. It did rain in the morning of Boston this time. So yeah, just wearing arm sleeves and that kind of gear put me in the mindset, hey, look, you're gonna go fast.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, dude, that's kind of like a whatever's clever thing too. It's like, there's no fashion at that point, and like even if it is, it's fashion that's gonna increase mentality, right? Like it's like something of like, dude, maybe Allen Iverson inspired you, and he wears the arm sleeve, so you're like, okay, this is my
you're gonna go hard with the arm sleeve.
Exactly.
I think there's so many people wearing them now. It's like, why would you wear them? And I think, like, you don't need them if you don't to run faster. That's certainly not the reason I'm wearing them. I think what you would need them for is protection of weather, and I'm a small body. Look, I might get hypothermic. I don't want that. Yeah,
and it's also like the ultimate. It's like, don't you think if I'm gonna accessorize with anything, it's gonna be like a freaking motorcycle or a No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just want to make sure that you're taken care of during a race, and you can always ditch stuff. You can always get rid of a hat, a glove.
The one thing I want to
sleeves.
What. How far do we have to go back? This is one thing where I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm sure you know the history more than me. But I know the development of marathoning, and Boston specifically, has been absolutely, like, almost exponential in regards to time getting sharper and sharper. How far back do we have to go for a 2:49 to have won the Boston Marathon?
Oh, like in the beginning of time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the first winning time was like a 2:45 or like 18. The race was in 1896.
1896.
It was only 25 miles to run the Boston Marathon from the BAA Athletic Center.
Wow.
The guy drew it. Yeah, there's a documentary about it. It's really interesting.
What's the documentary called? Do you know?
Yeah, it's called Boston. It's just
Boston.
And it just goes over the whole entire history of the marathon there.
Cool.
But it was like 2 hours and like 43 minutes. I don't think any of my time, my one Boston time would have actually won the Boston
Okay,
Marathon.
But you're up there.
I would have been around like top 5 probably in 1908 or 1870.
No, it's cool. I enjoy
1895 or whatever, 97.
It's just kind of awesome that people are now. What was the winning time this year, for example?
2:07, so 30 minutes ahead of me.
It's like that's
32 minutes.
That's pretty impressive that you're only 32 minutes behind that, but B, that's impressive that someone got it in under 2:10.
Yeah, and an American, shouts to Scott Fauble, went under 2:10. I mean, my training partner Mark Mesmer ran 2:24. Like,
wow,
these guys for Americans running sub 2:30, like you're crushing the roads, man. Like, you're rolling. And so I do have my big aspirations to eventually, roll with Scott into bigger and better things like a sub 240 marathon within the next 2 or 3 years. But being patient's important, and these guys that run sub 230 have been running for like all their lives. Like this is maybe they didn't start when they were 10 years old, but they've been running in middle school and high school, and it's like I just started 3-4 years ago. Like I'm trying my best to like do with what I have.
Well, I feel like what you've basically correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like what you've done now in that past 3-4 years is you've built your foundation. You've kind of got your team. You've made the contacts. You can go to a marathon almost anywhere and know a couple people, or probably a lot of people.
Now that I'm running sub 250, like pretty much on every try, yeah, people definitely, because sub 250 is going to win you a marathon and a local marathon potentially.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you run 246 and you're in Ventura on the right day, that's the win.
You've inherently built that foundation, right? So like now what you're doing is now you're building your own piece within that foundation, right? Now you have the ability to kind of carve out your own, whether it's sticking with the marathons, whether it's even, going down and start crushing halves, or whether it's to go up and, run with Mac. Just the opportunities are endless because you've surrounded yourself with such a good team and you're such an open-minded person, which I feel like is very important within running.
Yeah, and being open-minded, like that's why for a while there I thought to myself, you don't need to be coached. You're so open-minded, you can hit one of your friends up any day. And maybe that is the way to go, and it got me feeling good about running sub 250 for a while, but to get down to a really high level, you have to talk and be with someone that's really giving you feedback, like giving you feedback on not every workout, but every week consistently. And your friends can only see what you're saying to them. Your coach he's paid to look at everything you're doing. He's paid to look at the feed and give you feedback you may not want to hear. Hey, I don't think it's a good idea for you to, and your friends can only say to you, hey, look, like, I don't think it would be a good idea. Like, Jacob's already raced 2 races since Boston. And I'm sitting here telling him, no, you might get injured. I think if his coach saw him do that, they would be like, what are you doing? Like, you positive split a 5K big time. He did recently. Which is like you started off really fast and then your legs got garbage on the way up. It's like,
oh, okay, so negative splits.
Dead. He just ran a marathon. And then tomorrow he plans on racing a trifecta race. I don't know how healthy his legs are.
That sounds terrible.
So if he can hold it, like I'm not talking. I don't ever
no, this is not
ever
talking
talk
smack.
Bad about anybody. But it's like, dude, if you can hold that pace for that, then you're a freak out. You're like Mike Wardian, for heaven's sakes. Like you can just show up on any day and feel good with your legs. More power to you. But a coach is the one that's going to say, look, you shouldn't be running right now. You should be really sitting back, getting the rest. And then, hey, look, you're peaking right now. Like, let's get you into a race. This is the time for you to run a PR.
Yeah.
And there's no bullshit behind what I'm saying. Like, this is the truth. Like, a coach is going to lay the foundation for you to be a good athlete down. No, nothing behind it.
Yeah. Well, I think you said something pretty powerful. I mean, it's not that... I'm trying to think of a way to say this. It's not that friends are necessarily yes men, but friends are always going to try and give you a positive grass is greener side if they're good friends. Because I think good friends should always be positivity. And where a coach, like you said, they're paid to literally
tell you no.
Nitpick.
They're telling you no or yes. It's not. I don't know Scott as a really close friend, so that's kind of nice as well. A lot of friends, like you said, are they just yes men kind of guys where they'll be like, hey, look, like, yeah, like, do it, man. Sounds fun. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily mean that in a negative way.
You don't want, like, that's a great thing. You want friends that are like that. They're nice, but you don't want them to, say that when you shouldn't be doing it.
That's true. So, yeah, no, there's a very fine line to walk there, and I think that could be applied to anything.
So, yeah, I think as we've gone on, this podcast has just gotten better and better because we're getting deeper and deeper with how we feel about, our situations. It's like, dude, I really, really need a coach, and you really, really need someone to be honest.
Yeah.
And your friends are only going to be so honest to a degree. Mm-hmm. And some friends that are sophisticated runners will say, hey, look, that's not a good idea. Like, I even told Jacob that's not a good idea, even though he won the 5K. It's like, that's not a good idea. You just finished a marathon. You need to rest. They'll tell you, no. Good friends will tell you no sometimes. But it's like, most of the time, if you ask them, I'm going to go race, and, like, they're going to be like, heck yeah, man, go.
Go get it.
go get it, rip it up. And if you're even training in a cycle and you're like halfway ready, you're not sure, your friend will tell you, yeah, but the coach will tell you just bag it.
Interesting.
Or maybe go do it. And also, your coach might push you into things that you're not ready for, which in the long run, maybe that pays off big time.
Yeah.
So I don't like running 5Ks and 10Ks, but if Scott wants me to start doing that, then sure as heck I'm going to start running 5Ks.
Well, I mean, look, this would be from an outsider's perspective. If he tells you, from my perspective, if he tells you that that's going to help you, like you said, maybe attack it harder, or like you were saying in Boston, attack it earlier than 21.
Yeah.
If that's going to genuinely help you and he thinks it will, then I say shoot.
Go for it. And a lot of the people that I'm working with, they are coached. They are coached, and they also...
You read my mind on the next question.
Yeah, so like... Yeah, exactly. So Mark is probably coached. Jacob is like, I'm going to get coached. And I'm sure, like... Well, Mac's training for ultra stuff, so he's kind of freehanding it still.
You almost have to.
It's like for ultra running, it's just more different. But for like marathon running, like there should be a specific plan that you're going off of.
Huh.
And for me to walk into the last Boston without a plan, do it successfully, I mean, I did have a plan, my own plan, but no one's really keeping me accountable but myself.
Yeah.
If I wanted to wake up and sit around all day in sauna and not go run, I could certainly go do that. But I'm training for a marathon, so I've got to go do it. That's what I tell myself, And it's a lot easier if you've got homework, you know what I mean?
I see what you mean. So the coach also can assign you homework.
Yeah, it's like you've got homework to go do. You've got a 12-mile run today, instead of you putting yourself in the situation where you could potentially bag the workout, move on with your day, and not feel too bad about it.
And crush a, fat CPK and just go to sleep.
Fat CPK pizza and 2 or 3 beers. Like, that's easy to do. That's very, but line of the night, that's very easy to do.
Yes, it is.
But like, that is the benefit of having somebody that's giving you feedback, watching over you, is saying, "Here's the homework, go do it."
Well, and also,
and they're proud of you.
Yeah, that's the thing is, A, they're proud of you. That's the number one. But B, you're gonna always be like, dude, to yourself, you're gonna be like, dude, I've invested in this. Like, I've already paid the money. Like, the only thing I can do at this point is screw it up by bagging it and not putting in what they said the work that I need to put in.
And it's proven work, so it's like
it's tried and true.
Tried and true. I know it because the guy I'm working with is a 105, 65-minute halfer, and he's just a triathlon beast. His name's Scott De Filippi, and this guy is like Jack Daniels acquired taste, which is, it sounds like alcohol, but Jack Daniels is a running coach. He's got the same taste kind of that Jack is coming up with for workouts. And Brett Sutton, another guy who's a big philosophy, he's like takes philosophies from him. And they put these workouts together, and I'm hoping that there's a plan for me in there that he can really mold and script down. I don't know what he's going to do. He said I start on Monday, so see what happens. I mean,
wow.
I hope there's a plan for me that works.
Well, like you said, I think we can tease it now a little bit. I mean, we'll be working within the next few months on a mini doc. Yeah. Whether it's about a specific event, but I think that'd be kind of cool, and get Coach Scott in on some of the stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've just started working together, so our relationship's like pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna get better and better, I'm sure, with how things move and go forward. Just as buddies, But
yeah,
I feel like it is good to have somebody that you don't know really well, kind of watching you run, so there can be failure or negative feedback, constructive negative feedback.
It's not like, oh man, that's my friend,
or
like
some coaching,
Yeah, if like I was screaming at you outside of a car while you were running, it would be hard to sit down and chop it up and like you said, like grab a beer, grab a pizza.
But it's different when someone's like looking over you a little bit differently.
Yeah, and also when you start your relationship like that, right? You're gonna become friends on kind of a different level. So like, it's never gonna be like, you're never gonna take it personally, right?
No.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like, yeah. So just moving on from the coaching topic, I think like my team's solid right now. I think everyone like is playing their own role without having to really think about it.
Yeah,
it's just kind of happening.
Yeah,
which is perfect. And no no one's trying to be somebody they're not. Like they're just accepting.
I think this is the perfect time to do the shout outs and the perfect shout outs to the team. And
my team has kind of become more extended than just, the 3 or 4 guys that actually have a couple of people that I want to shout out to, like Ari Shore, who is extremely a hard worker in LA right now. He has a wife, a kid, and just a good guy. And then another guy I wanted to shout out, me and Ari just recently ran together too. I was coming back from Boston, but he threw down like a 400 workout, and he ripped off like 60-65 for each lap. It was just amazing, and I was so happy to see that because it had been a while since I've ran 400s, and I was staying engaged with it because it just wasn't a workout I would usually do. And just like, I still want to do that. That looks fun for my next workout. Like, it's like, for instance, a kid seeing another kid get on a slide.
I want to do that now.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, that looks fun. Like, so.
Cool. So big shout out. And then,
Ari, and then another person who I would probably say has given me tons of hype running with recently and like just hanging out with. Ran with a gal yesterday in the RS. And again, it's not about being super fast like a group run. Her name is Jennifer Woodson, and she's trying to qualify for Boston right now. And we're just talking game, chopping it up on a group run. And we were moving 8-minute pace, like chilling. And so that was a good run recently. A shout out to her. And I guess my last shout out, we're still working with guys like Joey Dono, who's in our last episode.
Yeah.
He ran 142 recently. He's a funny guy, though, let me tell you. He has some serious aspirations. He bought the same bib that I wore in Boston. Yeah. Don't know. Kind of funny, right? You know what I mean?
Wow.
It says BQ right here. And everybody knows the BQ means Boston qualified. But for the longest time, I kept ripping him. You're not BQ. You haven't even ran a marathon yet, dude. And
what is the specific? Do you have to have a specific time for BQ?
You do, a specific time. I'm not ripping him. Because he said one of the coolest things ever. He did say, I really am wearing it because I want to be, like, I want to do it
It's like, someday. I can look down and be like, that's where I'll be.
I want to do it someday. And so, Joey, shouts to Joey, like, he will BQ and run a marathon if he puts his heart and desire to it.
What's the specific time for BQ right now?
Specific time for a BQ for Joey Dono, 3:10. Joey Dono, my guy.
This, Joey. You got this.
My guy, Joey.
You got this.
Robbie Fareed, 56-year-old, 3:22 at Boston.
Killer.
Guy is a radio show host. Guy is a freak athlete for his age. Ran 2:35 back in the day. He calls me the kid.
The kid. Awesome. Well, big shout out to everyone. And the last question we always ask the guests. First of all, I want to thank you for your time. This has been a wonderful, terrific second episode with P to the double H on the show. And
obviously, folks, just touching in here, I mean, the more we talk and chop, the more it goes on, and the more fun it gets. It really is like that. So if you're kind of feeling like it's butter now, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Hot knife through butter. So the last thing I always love to ask, is obviously the theme of the show. The thing we ask all the guests is, what's your advice for anyone out there who has a passion that they have that they're not pursuing for whatever reason, like it could be legit, but like, what's your advice to them to kind of take that leap of faith and pursue that passion and turn it into a profession, subsequently a paycheck?
So I'd say for people that are passionate about, they have a passion right now, whether it's making like what we got here, a podcast, what we got, a runner doing a bunch of marathons, passions. It's really getting engaged, like staying engaged with that passion through it all, through everything that you go through. You're going to find times where that passion's like, for instance, like I will be running on a bad day, 100%. If you're passionate about something, you're going to put up with the bad days. You're going to find ways to get around the pity party. You're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. See it through when it's really bad. And the consistent people usually sell product. They usually not just sell product, but they get
in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they get their point across.
Yep. Just
like recently, I finishing the Boston Marathon after waiting a whole year fighting adversity. I got my point across. I wanted to be there. I wanted to finish. If you're passionate about something, staying consistent and tolerating the lows, and saying, look, I'm going to sit here and take these blows, and continue to take these blows, because at the end of the day, I know my vision is going to be awesome. I want all these subscribers to view my YouTube page to give me not only money, but a good stance.
And a platform to share my message.
Yeah, and a good stance on my reality, and where you can make your reality a freaking, not only a paycheck, but a lifestyle.
Yeah. That's, you said something that really, really hits home. I mean, that.
Just stay consistent.
Stay consistent through the lows, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so easy to stay consistent through the highs, through the mediums. But like you said, if you're truly passionate about something, and one thing that one of our recent guests, big shout out to Moss of Original Good Stock, he said that.
Moss.
Big shout out. He said that if you're not scared about something, right, then you're probably not that into doing it. If it doesn't scare you a little bit.
You don't really know what to live for until you know what you would die for.
Yep.
So, like, for instance, if you don't really care, like, if you're just kind of half doing things all the time, like, you have really no freaking...
Half-stepping.
No freaking, like, I really want this grind, I really gotta get it, like...
And then you get into something and quit before you become an expert.
Yeah, like, it's like a kid, like, getting into a new toy. Like, you have to stay on the same toy for a really long time. And just, like, never get... Like, people can be, like, amazed by how interested you are with that one toy, like, over and over and over. Like, he still likes that thing.
Yep.
That one kid moved on. Like, running wasn't important anymore. Like, running has stayed super important to me, and it will always be important to me. Not only because it's just an activity called running, but it's changed the way I view just my regular life.
Yeah.
And I think the key to any passion, and for people that have passions, to really answer the first question there is not only get out the freaking door, get out the door and see the world, because there's plenty of opportunity out there, but stay consistent through the lows. Still see your picture, because people give up way too easily. They see it, it's low, it's over.
Yep.
I don't see it really panning out.
Yep.
Like, for instance, the kids that launched the new app somewhere. I mean, anyone watching this right now, you've probably seen the kid, or not the kid, the parent, somebody come up with a new app. It's a great idea, and it pans out for a year and a half, 2 years. And they gave up. They gave up on the app. It's over. Like, that didn't work. Nobody bought into it.
Yep.
Well, maybe your idea wasn't for people at the time.
It's ahead of its time.
But you shouldn't give up on it. You should continue to develop it and see. And if it's a complete wash at the end of the day, somebody has to tell you it's a complete wash and move on.
But maybe the messaging is wrong with it.
It was your passion.
Yeah.
It was your passion and your vision. And if you do not give it a real shot, a real chance,
you'll never know.
You'll never know. And you've got to be at least a little bit obsessed with your passion to find out, because that's just what it takes.
I totally agree. I think you need to be obsessed totally.
Yeah, and yeah, just like getting on a freaking treadmill. People are possessed to finish. I'm at mile 9. You think I would ever finish at mile 9 if I planned a 10-miler? No.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. So, like...
Yeah, well, that's deep. I appreciate the insight. Gosh,
you guys are probably on, like, mile 6 or 7 right now. I love it.
Yeah, this is prime. Well, I appreciate your time, Pat.
Yeah.
It's been another terrific episode. More to come. We gave them a quick snippet teaser of the mini doc that we're gonna be.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a.
We're gonna work on something. We're gonna work on something.
Coming out with the legs.
Yeah. We'll be more into that in weeks to come and months to come. But
how about our guy over here on the ODDCAST for hosting and the WoW outfit?
Oh man,
the WoW experience over here is.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the viewers. Patrick Hamilton Hutton, coming off again a 2:49 time, finishing in the top 1,000 of the 2019 Boston Marathon. Big bounce back from adversity last year, and just really the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical fortitude that he showed. Really inspiring and awesome to hear a lot from. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the ODDCAST podcast, where we talk about people who are turning their passion into profession and subsequently passion into paychecks. Pat, you want to give us a brief sign out?
Sign out right here with some last shout outs to just my family, my friends, people that I really love and appreciate. All the cuties out there love you, because you got to. Cute girls rock. Stay patient. Last thing I'll say here, stay patient. Good things are coming. Don't force anything with life, because then that's just not appropriate.
Yep.
Forcing things isn't appropriate, and I think, like last time we had our episode title was, I think, save everybody's time, don't lie. Or
Yeah, tell the truth.
Tell the truth. It would save everybody's time. I think this time is kind of what I was saying there is just, I think I just had it and totally spaced on it. It was...
Well, patience.
Yeah, preaching patience this time, guys. So just being patient, waiting and taking our time for good things to happen, and not forcing the issue. I think that really causes people stress. And like this time, I think leaving this episode with just, hey, take your time.
Only throw into triple coverage when you really need to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pick coming, right? Potentially there.
Exactly. So don't force the issue.
Don't force it.
Well, again, appreciate your time. Thank you again. ODDCAST podcast. Big shout out to Patrick Hamilton Hutton. Big shout out to the entire running community. Big shout out to the entire Odd Squad. Thank you so much for the love. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your time. Follow us on Instagram at _oddcast_podcast.
Subscribe.
Follow our guy at FastPat12345. FASTPAT 12345. You can also find us on www.theoddcast.live. That's theoddcast.live. We are on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Anchor, Google Play. We're on everything, folks. There's no excuse. We appreciate your time. Much love, much peace,
Take
and
care,
much
y'all.
tis chicken grease. Till next time.
Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST.